everybody, it's Kristy back with another video, and today we are going to do the Ink of the Month video for March. So happy March. This is coming out hopefully on March 1st, and we are going to just do a little piece of art and talk about Ink of the Month, give the rundown. I will show off the February pieces for Ink of the Month, and we will talk about how you can play along. So first of all, let's just take a second and thank you all for the lovely pieces with the red and green, white and black ink that we did for February with Ruby Royal Flush. And I'm going to put up people's pieces and Instagrams now in the video. And please feel free to check these guys out. They all did a wonderful job. I loved seeing how all the different things that people did. And yeah, then we're going to come back and talk about the March Ink of the Month. All right, so I thought that everybody did an amazing job, and I just absolutely loved it. If you would like to have your artwork featured, do something for this March. So what colors are we using for March? So we're not going to do complementary colors every month. Next month is going to be a little different, but this month I had a really cool idea for another set of complementary colors, and I've played around with them, and I'm really into it. We are doing the main ink of the month is this Diamine ink Raise a Glass ink. If you did the Diamine ink event calendar, you have this exact ink, but it's basically a very deep dioxazine purple type color with a gold sheen. So if you have a color like this, or you have another Diamine ink that you would like to play along with, as a matter of fact, I also recently picked up this guy, which I think is a purple ink as well. Yep. This is Winter Miracle. It's got a little bit of a different shimmer to it. It's got a blue shimmer, but I also thought about using this guy. So if you have any purple ink at all, you can play along. The accent color is yellow, and I'm going with Winsor & Newton's Canary Yellow ink. This is a much weaker ink than this, so we're going to see how to play with it so that I can get what I want using the wells. I did do a little bit of testing ahead of time. And then for my black and white inks, last time I used Speedball Calligraphy ink, and it definitely had a different texture than the rest of my fountain pen inks. So I'm using the writing ink from Birmingham Pen Company. This is cast iron. This is just a regular old black ink. I really love the products from Birmingham Pen Company. They are Pittsburgh based, which is cool for me. And I'm sticking with my Higgins white ink. It seems to be doing okay, though you could sub in some white gouache. You could sub in Dr. Paige Martin's Bleed Proof White, which is similar to white gouache, if not exactly white gouache. I'm not exactly sure the difference there. Or Copic white ink, whatever you want. You could even do this with watercolors. You could do this with Inktense products. You could do this with acrylic paint. I really am not interested in people having to do ink. I'm playing with ink because ink has been kind of a new thing for me that I'm really enjoying doing. But if you want to play with something else, by all means, play along. I just want you to try to kind of experience the color palette. So I'm going to make a piece of art in this book, which is a Cotty Papers sketchbook. I haven't really shown anything I've done in this book before. I don't think it's been a while since I've had it out. I kind of rediscovered it recently. I just did this the other day. Turned out really, really cute. But anyhow, I'm going to do my piece for Ink of the Month in here, but I'm going to swatch everything first in this book right here. This is an Artsy sketchbook that I don't really love the paper in for actual projects, so I end up just using it as a nice swatch book a lot of the time anymore. You can see there's a ton of swatches in here. I just did my Da Vinci gouache swatches in there. So we'll go ahead and we are going to test in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a clean water well here and a dirty water well, because with ink, it will get dirty fast. So I'm going to put my dirty ink in there just because there's still residue in the bottom of that cup. So I'm going to just do some droppers of stuff, and I am going to dilute this ink a little bit because it is so pigmented, which is great. Actually, I didn't shake it first. and I know that it's got all the pretty sparkles. So I want to go ahead and shake it up so that my sparkles are all throughout. Okay. So I'm going to do an inkwell where I have, it's way too much. That's just going to be purple, and I'm going to dilute it down a little bit. I'm going to mix a purple with a yellow. 1 drop will be fine. I'm going to mix purple with some white ink. I will put 2 drops in here. Again, I'm being very stingy with this. And then purple with white, or purple with yellow, purple with white. I'm not actually going to mix the purple and the black because I don't think that's really necessary in this particular iteration. And then I may just back here do a little bit more purple in case I end up needing it or want to have it not diluted. But in the main inkwell here, and since this is all still technically clean water, I'm just going to use the dirty water that has a little bit of the color in it to dilute it out. You'll see what I mean when I swatch it. I definitely wanted it diluted a bit. I can always add. It's harder to go back once it's too dark. All right, let's deal with the Winsor & Newton Canary Yellow. Really pretty color. A huge fan of this color. Put some in that well there. That's just straight in. We're going to do a whole bunch in this guy here. I kind of want it to be a lot of yellow and a tiny bit of purple. Then I'm going to put some yellow back here that I will put some white into. Okay. All right, and then we've got the black ink, and I don't know how much black ink I'm going to use. I may leave the black out for now. I'll just swatch it straight out because I don't see, because this purple ink is so dark this time, I actually don't see a ton of applications for using the black ink other than on its own. But I always want to give people the option of black ink in case your purple isn't quite as crazy strong as mine. All right, so there's my white ink well. We're going to do some white in with my yellow. We're going to do a whole bunch of white in with this purple. Again, always can add more purple. Harder to go back the other direction. All right, and then this is my dirty water. This is just a dropper from the dollar store. I find these Higgins droppers don't really do it for me. So this one just came from a 2-pack that I got at Dollar Tree. Here's the bottle that it belongs to. So if I wanted to, you know, it comes with bottles. All right, let's start to swatch. So our original color, and I'll swatch it undiluted, that's why I put it in the back there, is right here. And it's this really deep, very rich purple. I'm even going to pull it out with water a little bit so you can see just how purpley it is. That's why I diluted it here. And see, you can just get so much more color just with that dilution. So I'm really happy that I did that. It's still going to give me a really nice pigmented purple, but be a more reasonably workable color. Then our yellow, our accent color, is just this really pretty light canary yellow. It would be fun to have a little bit more pigmentation with this. I do find that adding the white to it makes this really pretty creamy gold color. Look how pretty that is. Then we're going to look at what happens when we add the purple to white. And we're going to get this beautiful pastel purple. Really pretty. When we combined the purple with the yellow, we get this really interesting kind of gray brown color. Okay. That almost has like this tinge of green gray to it, but it's got this really pretty, it's like brown with gold in it. I just think it's really pretty. I'm going to play with florals with this. I think that you can get away with having almost like a brownish golden leaves, and I think it would look really cool. And then of course we've got the white, which is just your standard white. Here is my cast iron, just to give you some black. That is definitely not as, there we go. That's like as pigmented as it is. It does have a nice kind of cool undertone if I pull it out. It's definitely more cool than it is warm. It's kind of a pretty neutral gray, but it would lean a tiny bit cool if I had to say. It leaned a direction. And just to show you in my swatch book, I did a little bit of a tester, and I'm not going to do this piece of artwork today. I am probably going to save it for later on because I want to run through it one more time. But you know, ink of the month goes the whole month. So it's one of those things that I keep coming back to. But here are the test swatches that I was able to get when I pulled it. Now, I think this green that I'm seeing here is not, I think there was something in the pan that I was working with. I'm not going to quite get something that's that green. But when I added the canary yellow and the black, I did get this color. And then the Diamine in black did give me this like very moody purpley black. So I might use that. And this is definitely the type of piece I'm going to do later on. So this is kind of a spoiler for a piece that I'm going to play with later on in Ink of the Month. But for today, I thought I would just do something simple, like some lilacs and maybe some pretty like daisy type flowers. I'm not sure. And I think it'll just be a really fun spring bouquet that I'm going to try to paint here in a few minutes. But yep, this is going to be Ink of the Month. Let me go ahead and label everything. Oh, we didn't use a dip pen. Hold on. March 2024 Ink of the Month. Okay, so there it is. Let's get a dip pen out. I have one right here. And we'll go in with the diluted ink. And we will do a little sketchy swatch. And just some fun. I can write my name with it. But, oh, this Diamine ink is just beautiful. I just love it. See, now it's bleeding because I added water to the ink. So let me go straight into the ink and pull it out instead so it won't feather. Now it shouldn't feather, but look at, oh, it's still feathering. It just must be the watercolor paper. I told you this isn't my favorite watercolor paper to work on. And we are going to see if we get a lot of feathering on the Cotty paper, but it's 100% cotton, and I love working on it because it's just very unique and different. So I'm looking forward to that. But look at how much darker this is. Just straight from the tube. It's like crazy dark, but it's beautiful. And then if we pull this out and dilute it, we get this insanely rich, beautiful purple. Okay. So that is the color palette for Ink of the Month. I will make a pretty nice little card and show that off so that you have it for the purposes. I'll put that on Instagram so that you guys can check it out if you are interested in playing along. And I'm going to embed this here as kind of a spoiler fun thing. If you played along with Ink of the Month in February, you are being added to a giveaway. We are going to do a quarterly giveaway for participants of Ink of the Month. I have not yet decided what you will be getting for this coming month. I will put that in a community post here on YouTube in the next week. So be on the lookout for that. But if you participate in Ink of the Month, you will be eligible for a giveaway on the channel. Super fun. All right, so let's go ahead and do some artwork. So I'm really glad that I chose this ink because this ink is crazy. It's like a crazy chameleon. It's got some really wacky things going on. If you watch the video of this ink almost looks blue when I put it down. And then as it dries, it turns into this gorgeous purple. It's still wet here, my piece. What happened to the cotty paper? Well, I'll show you what happened with that. I just didn't like, so this is what was going on the cotty paper. First of all, I messed up my composition and then I dropped a bunch of ink here on accident. So I tried to fix it and it just ended up a hot mess, and that's okay. Like sometimes you do something and it doesn't end up the way you want. This was much more what I was trying to go for, which was some sort of purple centric piece with some little yellow flowers kind of just flitted about in between. It is still not perfect, but it's my first attempt for this Ink of the Month, and I am going to do more than this. Like I said, I have a plan to do a actual lavender field, and I think that's going to be really fun. I was not expecting the green. So when you watched it, when I swatched it, it definitely looked more brown. This mixture of paint that I made, I'll show you the well. So look how green it is. And I mean, I did not add green to it. This Diamine ink is like a chameleon. It must have a lot of blue in it, and the blue must do something as it dries. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just going to show this to you. So I swatched it here, and this is after it dries. It still has that kind of gray look. This is the same paint, but swatched, same ink, sorry, but swatched a little bit later. So I don't know why it's turning so green, but that's really cool. And it was a neat added effect for me for this piece. Now, I would like to be able to get something that's a little bit browner. So I may have to play with adding some black to it, just a tiny bit, to get it to be closer to like a brown color for dirt, because I do want that if I do the other piece. But this turned out really fun. I didn't use a ton of the white ink, and I actually didn't use any black ink. Even the middle of those flowers is purple. It just looks really pretty in this piece that way. So I didn't end up incorporating any black into this piece. All right, so how do you play along with Ink of the Month? Great question. Let me bring back this sketchbook and I will write down what you need to do. So you need to play with this color palette, okay? It's just really loose. It's just an idea of being able to have a limited color palette. So try to keep yourself to 4 colors. I have to do purple and yellow. I obviously got a green out of what I mixed, but start with your purple, yellow, black, and white. See what your particular brand mixes. If you want to add a different color into there, like if you say, I don't need the black or I don't need the white, I'm going to do this other color, that's fine. It is totally up to you. When you post on Instagram, you can post on Discord. I have a Discord link that is active at all times under my videos. You can post there if you want to join our Discord, please do. Or you can post your Ink of the Month on Instagram. So if you post it on Instagram, please use the hashtag Ink of the Month and use 2 hashtags. It just makes it easier for me. Hashtag Artsy, Kristy, I am for Ink of Month, right? So Artsy, Kristy, I am, and hashtag Ink of the Month. That's how I find it on Instagram. You can also tag me on Instagram, which is at Artsy_Kristy. That's my Instagram handle. If you're looking to find me on Instagram, this is an underscore, not a dash. Okay. And I would love to see what you create. So what do you think of this color palette? Do you like it? What would you change about it? Do you have this Diamine ink? Does it do weird things for you too? I would love to know all of that in the comments below. And that's going to be it for me today. I hope this inspires you to play along with March's Ink of the Month. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.